What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next I have got an awesome unboxing here. I've got the two books that you saw in the thumbnail, and then this really big box right here. And so one book that's in here that I think is definitely worthwhile to be considering. It's just a strong long-term performer. And then I also just crossed 4,500 subscribers, so I'm going to talk about what I want to give away for my 5,000 subscribers. So let's try to get there quick. I'll show that book. And yeah, let's get into this. Alright, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. Before I get into these boxes, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that likes the video, subscribes, leaves comments, all that kind of stuff, because I just crossed the 4,500 subscriber mark. And so a few months ago, or I guess quite a few months ago, earlier this year, I put out a question on the channel, and I was kind of asking, like, if I hit 5,000 subscribers, what age of book should I give away? And the overwhelming response was the Silver Age. And so I thought a cool book to give away would be this one that I picked up in that collection that I bought earlier this year. If you haven't watched that video, make sure to check it out, because then I also sent this one off to get pressed and cleaned, got it graded, and it came back the 5.0 white pages. This is the first cameo appearance of him, or Adam Warlock, which is a character that I think is going to be a big character in the future of the MCU, and is going to definitely be at least in the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and I think they're going to probably use him long term. But I thought this was a cool thing to give away just because it was from the collection I picked up on the channel and did the unboxing on the channel, all of that. So this will be the book that I'm going to give away when I hit 5,000 subscribers. I'll talk about how I'm going to do that when we get there, but the sooner we get there, the sooner I can give this away. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you aren't. Alright, so now let's get into these boxes. The first one here, there should be two books in this one, and shockingly, one of the books in here is a modern book. And I know I don't buy modern very often. It's actually like I would call it like a super modern book, like a very recent book. And I know I don't buy moderns all that often, but if a book's a deal, I'll pick it up. And I just think that this is a cool cover. I had been talking about variant covers in a video recently, and I know most of the time they really don't retain value. If you haven't watched the video that was put out by Dave with Comic Book Investments on variants, highly recommend it. He gives a lot of great information in that video about variants and how the prices change over time and all that kind of thing. But this one, it's been out for a few years now, and so that's really what you want to look for. One of the things he talked about, it's don't buy into the immediate hype with a variant, but if you've got one that's, you know, retained its value longer term and you find a good deal on it, then hey, you know, why not? And this one is also from the artist that I talked about quite a bit in that variant video that I did, and that's J. Scott Campbell. And it's also just one of the most popular characters out there, and I just think it's a cool variant cover. So that one, I'll show that book first. So this one, it's actually from 5 years ago, from 2017. And this is Spider-Gwen number 24. And so J. Scott Campbell, you know, so you can see up on the top there, jscottcampbell.com edition C. And this is this Gwenom cover. So when Spider-Gwen has the symbiote and basically becomes Gwenom. And I think it's an awesome cover. I think it looks really cool. It's just, you know, great Spider-Gwen type cover. And these are all the different variants that he did for this issue. This one, I believe, is the most popular, most in-demand one by quite a bit. So I just think it's an awesome cover, and so I decided to pick it up because I thought it was a good deal. All right, so then the next one is a book that I've talked about a few times, that I picked up a raw copy recently. I don't know if I picked up another one too, but this is a book that I think is going to have a lot of potential, again, moving forward in the MCU, and I like to get them in as high a grade as possible. And this is Captain Marvel number 27. And so this is, I believe it's the first full appearance of Star Fox, because he's got his first appearance in Iron Man 55, but that's generally considered more of kind of like a cameo. So this is kind of the first full appearance of Star Fox. I believe this is also like the third appearance of Thanos. It's got a few key things on it. You've also got Super Skrull on there, who I think is likely going to be a character eventually in the MCU. But yeah, 9.4, nice high grade copy. Just thought, this one looked really, really nice. So yeah, happy about this one. And then I have one that I'm sending off to get graded as well, and we'll see what that one comes back as. Can't remember exactly what I graded that one at. I think it was like a 9.0 or something like that. But yeah, 9.4, beautiful copy of this. This is definitely a book that I would be on the lookout for, especially if you can find it raw at a good deal. That's one that you can maybe find some decent deals raw in this book. It does get pricier as you get up into the mid-9s, but I've talked about this in my recent market video. Bronze Age books have been weak, so if you want to try to find some deals, look for Bronze Age books, and you might be able to find some great deals, especially on things like auctions. All right, this next book here, this is the one I was talking about in the intro, and this is the book that it just gradually keeps going up. It's just slow and steady, and I think it's just, if you're looking for something that's a relatively safe book to buy, if you're worried about these big, drops and peaks and valleys and everything that have been going on recently with the comic market, then that's the type of book you want to go for. You want a book that didn't really participate in the comic boom, which this one didn't, and then you want a book that just, its history just shows a very nice gradual increase in price, and it just feels safer to buy. Now this one, like I talked about also in, it was like a recent video that I did, I was saying that, I was wondering for a sec there's a different book on the front. It's because he put in another book with this one. I was like, wait a minute, maybe this isn't the book I thought. But I was saying that one of the areas that you really want to look if you're worried about these contractions in prices is Silver Age DC. Silver Age DC keys really didn't participate much in the comic boom, with a few exceptions that I talked about in that video, like Tech 359 and Batman 181, those couple of those big Batman keys. But this one really didn't participate in it, and it just keeps going up. I have talked about this one before, and a lot of people disagreed with me, though. A lot of people said they love this cover. I don't. I stand by my dislike for this cover. This is Justice League of America #1, and it's not a super common book. It's not a book you can find easily, but if you look at the price trends for this book, it just keeps gradually going up. Long term, over time, that's all it does. It just gradually goes up because it's a pretty big Silver Age key for DC. You've got all the Justice League on there. The reason I don't like this one is I just feel, I was in chess club as a kid. I was a big nerd, and I still don't like I don't like them playing chess on the cover. I want something with a little more action, like Brave and the Bold 28. But still, I know a lot of people disagreed with me and my sentiment on that, and they said that they love this cover. So, everybody gets to like what they like. But it's a 1.8. I picked this one up from Monster Comic Shop. I have talked about his store or channel on Instagram a number of times, and this was another one of his, I think it was like Saturday night deals, and I talked about that. I picked up some books with that before the last time I bought books from him, and so you've got to be quick on him. He puts them up for pretty aggressive prices, and you can usually find some great deals, and this one I picked up for a really good price. And this was the book that was on the front of it that threw me off. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't buy this. This is Thor 164, so he threw that one in with it, which is cool, just to get a throw-in Silver Age, Thor book. So that's pretty cool. So I picked up those two, but definitely Justice League one to really be on the lookout for, especially with how DC is really revamping what they're doing in the DC universe, the entertainment universe. Would be more critical about what they're putting out. So we could see some more focus on the Justice League and the real popular characters in there, and they may, it may be something that helps turn around that franchise a little bit. So definitely something to watch for, but it's not just Justice League 1. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, go find that one book. If you can get that one, go for it. But there's a number of DC keys that just did not participate, Silver Age DC keys that did not participate in the comic boom, and you go through it and identify those, like Batman 121, first Mr. Freeze. That one really didn't participate, but it's a performer that just gradually increases over time. Then you've also got Batman 189, which is the first Silver Age Scarecrow. I talked about that in another recent video. That's just a consistent, gradual performer. Those are the type of books that you want to identify. Get a pricing service like GPA, Go Collect, Cover Price, that kind of thing, and identify the ones that are just those gradual performers and try to, seek out those books. All right, so now we got this huge box here. This one, I felt like I was very lucky with this. This was from Heritage, and I felt like I got some great prices on this one. Some pretty rare books, but also some. Let's see, there's at least one silver. There's a number of gold, and there might be a bronze or another silver in here. And I don't know. I just felt like I maybe caught some people sleeping on this auction, and I picked up some pretty solid books, some big books, and very happy about this one. So let's see. Oh, this one's it's double boxed, so lots of protection for these, which is nice. So let's see, how many books are in here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 6. Yeah, 2 Silver Age and 4 Golden Age books. All right, and it's a mix too. There's some horror books, there's some superhero stuff, there's some war books, it's like some World War II books, so kind of like a little bit of everything. So definitely happy about this. All right, so I'm going to cut into these, and then we'll go over these books. All right, so that's all of them. It is 5 graded books and 1 raw book. I'm going to talk about, let's just go through the graded books first. And so the first one on here is a book that I've got a copy that I'm sending into CGC for grading as well. And this is Marvel Superheroes number 12. So if you're not familiar with this is the first appearance of Captain Marvel, but this is not the Carol Danvers version of Captain Marvel. This is the original Marvel version of Captain Marvel, but not the one from the Golden Age. I know there's a Captain Marvel from Fawcett as well, but this is the Marvel Comics version of it. Carol Danvers' first appearance is actually 1 issue later in Marvel Superheroes number 13, which is actually quite a bit more expensive book. But 8.0 is a pretty nice grade. This is actually a book that there happens to be quite a few nice condition copies of this one. It's weird, issue 13 doesn't have very many high grade copies, so in high grade that book commands a lot more money, but this one, I don't know if it's the white cover or what, but for whatever reason this one just has a lot more high grade copies, because they're both square bound, all that. I mean, this one looks pretty nice. I mean, it's an 8.0, I mean, it should look nice, but I mean, it's got a little wear down on that corner, that edge there. Little wear in that corner. Let's see at the back. I mean, it might have had, can't tell, there might have been a little staple rust that bled through. That could be something that hurt it, or that could have been something that rubbed off from another book. It's hard to tell for sure when a book is in the case like this. But yeah, this one, this isn't a book that's like a big performer anymore or anything, but if you find it for a good deal, it's still an in-demand book. It's a cool character, so I picked up that one. Then the next one I actually talked about in my last top 10 video. This was the book that I picked up that I was talking about, and that is Planet Comics number 30. And if I can get Planet Comics for a price that I think is good, I will pick them up, because this is a Golden Age run that it just keeps going up. Long term, it's just gradual, keeps going up, because basically every cover is a science fiction good girl art cover. And so it's got 2 things that a lot of people like to collect. The art is always pretty great. This one of the things that I really liked about this copy is that the colors really popped. The blues really popped. Sometimes you'll see it where the blue gets really faded over time, kind of turns almost more of a gray, but you can see that is not the case here. The blues are awesome. You've got this crazy thing with this monster guy in the front that's going to attack this woman with the with a pistol, which is, I mean, it's a crazy cover, but you've got the Good Girl art cover, you've got the guy in the back here shooting an arrow to save her. But yeah, Planet Comics, they are just a very popular run of books. You can see that it's got really light subscription crease down the middle. I don't think this is one that I would really risk. Yeah, and you can see it on the back too. I would really risk trying to send in to get anything better. I just think it's a beautiful presenting copy, and yep, definitely happy with this one. Great book. And if you're ever wondering, whenever you see this down here, something like this or out on the edge, this is just that chamber paper that they put on the interior to help keep the pages nice. And sometimes it slips out over time. All right, now going back to the Silver Age, this is a book that I also have a submission to, for CGC with this book. Actually one that I'm really kind of gambling with it because if it hits my grade, I'm basically just breaking even on it. I'm hoping maybe it gets a little better, but it has a small stain on it that I think is going to hurt it. But I would say mine looks better than this one just from a quick glance, and that was the grade I was hoping for, but this one probably doesn't have the stain. This is Showcase number 73, which is the first appearance of the Creeper, a character that looks exactly like his name implies. That dude is totally a creeper. But an 8.5, you know, nice condition copy for this one. But this is a book that it doesn't really get much value until you get up into the 8.5s to the 9s. Below that, it's a pretty, you know, affordable book, around $100 or $150, that kind of thing. So really not too expensive of a, it's a minor DC key at best. But yeah, colors are really great on it. You know, deep purples, yellows, everything like that. I'm not a huge fan of the Speedo guy on the front, but you know, you get what you get. So there's this one, 8.5, Showcase 73. Bought it because I thought the price was good. Then, next book here. This was the one that when I was talking about that I picked up a crazy book in this auction. This is that crazy book. I have never seen this book come up for sale before. I checked the history. There was one auction in the last like 3 years that had a copy of this book on for sale that I may have watched, that I probably watched, but it was over 2 years ago, I think now, or around 2 years ago, so I must have just forgotten about it. But this cover is crazy. It is a World War II era cover. I don't usually buy this specific genre because of the kind of like the racist side of it, but with how just crazy this cover is, I felt like I'd go for it. So this is Red Dragon Comics number 7. This cover is nuts. This is a Tojo cover, so he was, you know, one of the leaders of Japan during World War II, and he is just being vaporized by this guy. I mean, this cover is a super violent war cover. I mean, a lot of times the war covers are kind of violent, but it's often implied violence. This one is straight up violence. And the thing that I think is crazy are these two little things up here. It's like for boys and girls, you know, like 1943 for little kids, this guy being vaporized on the cover, just nuts. But colors are just crazy on this book. I mean, these really bright reds and yellows, you know, the ad on the back, you know, the front cover, this book is nuts. And so there was, like I said, there was one other copy that sold in like November of 2020. And so again, this was not a book that's easy to price, but it's also a book where you go, you know, you buy it when you see it. When it's a book like that, you buy it when you see it because you don't know if or when you'll ever get a shot again. I don't remember exactly how many copies there are on the census. It was like 15 or 20, maybe. I'll put it down here. I'll go check when I'm editing the video. But yeah, this one, so you can see on the notes there, Hitler, Tojo, and Mussolini cameo, so they're in the interior, and then this classic Tojo cover. And yep, this is from Street and Smith Publications, not a publisher you hear about very often. But within this run, this is definitely the biggest book in the run. This is the one that really focuses on World War II, and by far the most violent of them. So, yep, that is a nuts World War II era cover. All right, now another one of the books, also World War II, that I talked about in my top 10 video that I had picked up. In the video, I was talking about Mystery Men number 2, which is the second ever robot cover, and I said that I also picked up a book from the Mystery Men run in that auction. Unfortunately, it has a big spine roll, so it had to get put into a magazine size slab, which always sucks. I hate getting them in the magazine size slabs because they're just harder to store and take up more space, all that kind of thing. But still felt like it was worth it because this is just some crazy cover content on this one as well. This is Mystery Men Comics number 27. And so you can see you've got this woman strapped to a bomb that is then going to be dropped on this ship down there that has the American flag on it. And then you've got, you know, Nazis. That Blue Beetle is coming in and beaten up. And then this character here is, some people have it marked as a Hitler cover, but it's often when I see it, it's like Hitler question mark. So it's like, it's not quite certain if it's just a German soldier with a mustache or if it's actually a Hitler cover or not. So that's one of the other elements that does tend to make this one a little more desirable. Usually if something is identified as a Hitler cover, it'll say it right here. And so CGC doesn't designate it, but I have seen it on, I think it was comics.org. It says like Hitler question mark, that kind of thing. So that is another thing that makes this one of these desirable books from the World War II era. I mean, this is 1941. This is early on in World War II. So, but yeah, I just thought this one had so many great elements to it. The good girl cover, the bomb, Blue Beetle beating up Nazis, the American flag down there. And so, yeah, I just went for it. And here you can see that huge spine roll on this. And that's what caused this one to have to be put into the magazine size slab instead of fitting into a normal slab. Now you could risk having that corrected to try to see if you can get it into a normal slab, but I don't know. It's risky with the spine, trying to manipulate books like this that have, you know, already clearly like having little pieces missing, that kind of thing. So definitely a gamble if that's something that you're gonna try to do. But I'm not going to try to do that. That is not my plan for this book. But yeah, I just thought this was a pretty crazy cover from the Mystery Men Comics run, which is also just an extremely rare run of books. I'll put the census count for the universal copies down there for that one too. All right, now the last book here that I picked up that I'm going to talk about is a pre-code horror book. It's actually a pre-code horror key, and I was really watching, it's from Tales of the Crypt. I was watching a lot of the Tales from the Crypt books in this auction because it kind of felt like they were graded a little harsh by whoever at Heritage graded this set of books. It looked nicer than the grade they gave it to me, and there were a number of books that week that looked nicer than the grade that they assigned. And so this one, if it gets the grade they assigned, I'm kind of like break even on it, but if it does better, then hey, it's great. So this is Tales from the Crypt, number 33. And I have actually shown this book previously. I have another copy of it. And what makes this a key is this is the origin of the Crypt Keeper. This is also a Jack Davis cover. And I've talked about Jack Davis before. His covers, you can tell when you see them, when they're in these Tales from the Crypt runs and the EC runs, when they're compared to the other artists. His covers have an insane amount of detail on them. I mean, look at this thing. Just like the detail on the mummy, all the wraps, everything. Like, his covers always stand out as having so much more detail than the other artists that are usually doing the EC covers at the time. But you see how nice this book looks. I mean, it's in Mylar, but they had this at a 5.5. I felt like this was better than a 5.5. I mean, it's got a little bend here, like a stacking curl that can definitely be taken care of. You know, a little bit of, like, you know, roughness up here, and it has a small tear right here. But, like, yeah, I mean, look at this thing. This is a very nice copy of this book, and this book gets expensive quick as the grades go up. And I know I'm not showing the back cover on this one, but if I remember, there wasn't really anything that stuck out on the back cover as problematic. So, I mean, if you look at an angle, it's not like there's no subscription crease or anything like that, or anything that really sticks out. So definitely one that I'm going to get graded, and I want to see what it comes back as, because just to me, it looked nicer than a 5.5. It really looked nicer than a 5.5. So I don't know exactly yet. I'll have to take a close look at it, see what I think it might be able to get. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about this book because, like I said, tough book to get in these types of grades. Even a 5.5 is a tough book for this one, and I think it can easily get in the 6s. So, yep, real happy about this one. All right, so that's all the books from this unboxing. I felt like I had some awesome books, some really rare ones, some cool books that I just rarely ever see. Like, Mystery Men comics do not come up for sale very often, and that Red Dragon comics, like I said, I just never seen that issue come up before. So, excited to be able to pick up some books that I just don't come across, because I watch a lot of auctions. I see a lot of books, and when I see a book I haven't seen before, that's pretty exciting to me. And I got a couple books that I think are worthwhile for you to really be looking for right now. That Captain Marvel number 27, and then I was talking about Justice League number 1. That's definitely one to be on the lookout for. But it's just those DC Silver Age keys that didn't participate in the comic boom. You know, that's something that if you're looking for a safe type of book that probably isn't going to correct nearly as much as what these other books are doing right now, that's an area to really be looking. And remember, make sure to subscribe to the channel so we can get up to that 5,000 subscribers so I can give this book away. So again, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. I've got more videos over here if you'd like to watch some of my other videos, and the subscription button right here if you'd like to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.